Hi everyone, Rachel Gray here. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel and back to my How to Choose a Career series. Today I am going to be interviewing my friend Andres. He is a real estate agent in New York City, and in addition to that, he actually formed his own company in the sustainable marketing space. So if you're interested in either of those career paths or interested in either of those industries, I know that this will be helpful for you. But even if you want some motivation today, I'm sure that this interview is going to be helpful. Before we get into it, please don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you.
I'm so excited to have you on today, and you are going to share with us a little bit about your story, a little bit about your path, and I'm really excited about that. So, first things first, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here talking to you, Rachel. We speak every Tuesday now on our clubhouse room about Motivational Tuesday, but I'm excited to be here with you and hopefully be able to bring my experiences and hopefully that can shine some light to other people who are just starting their life journey as well, or fresh out of college. So who is Andres Borges? Who am I? Funny thing, I used to hate that question, who is Andres, because I used to feel uncomfortable not knowing exactly who I am. But I've come to realize that we're always changing. So who I am today, hopefully I won't be the same tomorrow overall, but just not to get too deep into it, who I am right now, I'm very curious about life. I am very driven. I'm a lot of things. I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a musician. But I think overall, I'm someone who is still learning, and I'm someone who is still trying to figure out overall who I really am. I don't think we ever really figure it out because I think that's life. But
Yeah, it's a
that's
lifelong journey, isn't it? That was
yeah.
kind of a broad question, but I really like how you answered it. We've talked a little bit about, how you got to the US. And so I kind of want to talk about that. Just tell me about coming to the United States. Where are you originally from, first of all? Coming to the United States, where did you grow up? That type of thing.
So I was born and raised in Colombia. I came here at the age of 10 with my mother. My mom came here when I came to the US when I was 5. And so it was really thanks to her that I was able to make it to that new country. I think you previously also asked how like assimilating to like a new culture that kind of
Yeah.
was to New York
Mhm.
and or US overall. I think that was coming to New York actually, I think made it really easy for me from Colombia or my culture to ease in, because New York at the end of the day, it's like the melting pot. So I feel like it was very easy to some extent to ease into the new culture, especially in New York, because it was very eye-opening. There was so many cultures there that it just made everything so much easier, just very welcoming. I always feel very welcome.
Did you pretty much have friends from the same culture, or find people who were from the same culture? Or did you kind of like have a group of different types of friends and different types of interests? How did you how was your friend group, and how did that work?
When I came here, I actually came to do I think starting sixth grade. And so I went first into bilingual classes because I
Okay.
didn't speak much English actually. And so my group basically was just Hispanic kids, right? We were just surrounded in a Hispanic community. And so school was bilingual, or at least my class was bilingual. I knew they also offer like regular classes. Nothing's regular. Um, so I guess it just consists of very cultures. I think I remember having a close friend. He was from El Salvador, another one from Mexico, from DR. So it was very, very mixed. That's what I meant about coming to New York and having
Yeah.
the beautiful mix of cultures from all around the world, technically. And it's so amazing. Then on eighth grade, I was like, Mom, I want to be able to learn more English. And I told her I want to go to just regular classes. And so I just dove into just only English classes. I remember still struggling actually speaking English. I went in there with another friend who we decided to take the same path, and we were the only two Hispanic kids in the whole class. And so it was very interesting. We were picked up a little bit because sometimes I didn't understand everything, so I had to ask him or take out my little dictionary. Um, but yeah, I think I loved the mix of cultures. And my friend group just always kept changing.
We've talked a little bit together about your music career and your film career. So tell me how you decided to do that, why you decided to do that. Just give me a little bit about that.
It started really when I was 16 in high school. My sister had a guitar at home and I just started picked it up and I was like, you know what? I want to learn guitar. And so when I was in high school, by the way, my whole life, I was like, I told my mom, I want to be an architect. I love math. I enjoy drawing. I was like, you know what? I think it's the right path for me. And then high school happens, it's always you're introduced to new things again as you keep growing up. And so
and by this time you were taking all English classes, correct?
Yeah. In high school, it's already just high school, just regular classes. I was already getting into my English. And so, I did take AP Spanish because why not? Easy credit, right?
Easy A.
Easy A. But in my junior year in high school, I started taking classical guitar. And then I loved it. I guess I got really good. So I skipped intermediate and I went straight to advanced. We were performing like in the class was performing. I was actually always trying to do like the hardest parts because I was trying to get better at it. And then came to the question.
Your first time touching guitar was in high school.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I as a musician myself, it's just like, I feel like in high school, I was just like way too, I don't know. You have to have a different types of discipline to sit down in high school and say, I'm going to learn a new instrument. It's harder, but yeah. Okay. So keep going.
Well, I wasn't really the best or the most popular kid. I was very geeky. I had glasses, I have braces. Right now I have my contacts on. And so I don't know, I was interested in learning guitar, and I think that's something that I've learned about myself, that anytime I'm interested about something, I really just dive right into it. So senior year, my parents were asking me, what do you want to do? What are you going to try to study? That conversation has to come up eventually. And I said, you know what? I want to do music. There was a little bit of clash, right? Coming from Colombia, they want to give us the best, my sister and I. And so, of course, music doesn't sound like a very productive career. And so in my mom's eyes was a little shunned. She didn't like it, but she's always been very supportive. So she said, whatever I think is best. So I went to study music production. Got my associate's degree in music production. Then from that, my sister was talking to me and she was like, hey, why don't you maybe do something else and something maybe more productive? And I was like looking to film. And then CUNY, City University of New York, they have a special program called CUNY, where you basically get to combine two majors. And so I had a background in music. I was interested in film. And so I made up my own major. My major was called Sound Design for the Moving Image. So basically was doing sound design for film. And in the process, I was taking a lot of film classes to learn more about that. And so as that happened, I fell in love with film, photography. And so I started doing both.
Okay, before you go on, you said something. You said you made up your own major. So how exactly, did you talk with an advisor? How did that happen?
So actually, my sister told me about the program. It was called CUNY BA. She told me that a friend of hers was taking it earlier, and it's apparently a good program in New York City. Not many people know about it. I think the course usually per semester is like 200 to 500 people. You have to submit an essay explaining what kind of major you want to combine and make. Why is it so different, and why is it not? Do you think it's not offered in any other CUNY schools? And so it was a little process, but I got into it, thankfully. And so, so literally my degree, I'm like the only person that has a degree that says sound design for the moving image, which is really interesting. So I guess if I'm looking for a job, I have that specialization on that. So that's, again, another opportunity from the City University of New York public schools.
That's really interesting. That is awesome. So tell me about right after college, what was your first job? What did you do with your specialized major?
So I was actually always working since I was 16, working part-time with my parents, doing cleaning. It's a very common profession among Hispanics in New York. So we clean. I was doing that part-time, and then when I went to college, I was always already working as a server. I moved on from cleaning to serving.
Was it in the same place, or did you have like two jobs at the same time?
Uh, in, it's a little complicated. 16, I was still in high school. I did cleaning. I think 17, when I hit 18 officially, I was able to work not under my parents, so I was able to get an actual job. And so I started serving in Long Island in a coding hall. I did that for like 4 years. And then I started going to school. So I was technically in school already when I was working. I didn't have a kind of official job right after I finished college because I moved out at 18 as well. And so then I picked up like 3 jobs. I was going to school. So I was doing serving in the morning. I was doing school in the evenings. I was doing filming in the weekends. It was like a weekend job, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where basically they would pay me to film a dance competition. They would take us from tour to tour in different states. Did that for a couple of for months. And then somehow, I don't know how I fit it into my schedule. I picked up like this TV directing gig for a Bengali TV station. So I did that for like 3 months. I was directing the TV show, trying to build it up from the ground up. Eventually, I kind of burned out a little bit, had to let go of that job. Of course, I had to keep
I
one job.
lost track of how many jobs. Is it like 5 at this point?
But at one point, I had like three jobs at the same time. I don't
Okay,
think it
wow.
counts both, but
Plus
yeah, it
school,
was
because school's
pardon
another
me?
job.
Plus school, I guess. I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you go from where you were right there to then real estate? Because I saw that you started real estate. So tell me about that transition. Tell me about how you got interested in real estate.
Through the same pattern that I seen in my life, that I was just curious to learn something.
Mhm.
That was it. I was curious to know. I wanted to buy a house. And I said to myself, well, I don't know anything about buying a house. What's the process like? And so I was like, you know what? I think the best way to learn about buying a house is really just stepping myself in the shoes of someone who deals in that. And so I looked up how to get my real estate license. And then within 2 months, I took the classes, I passed the exam, and then I had my license. And I was like, okay, now what? I'm still being a server. Server gave me a flexibility to use my schedule and move it around. So I became a part-time realtor in New York City.
Wow, that's
Again,
awesome.
curiosity.
So are you a full-time realtor now, or what exactly is your career right now?
Oh man. So I started real estate when I was 2018, 2021. So then 2020 hit. 2019 I went full time. 2020 hit, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Because real estate, it's a career where the longer you are, the more successful you're going to be, because it's all about the connections and the people you create.
Mhm.
And the people you meet. And so I'm still building my database, or not my database, my friends and my colleagues and people who know what I do in real estate. So when 2020 hit, I was still barely consider myself fairly new, second year in, and everything closed down. So I wasn't doing really much real estate. And then so I started my company, my new endeavor, called Grima, which is a green digital marketing agency.
I want to get into that more a little bit later, but yeah, I just wanted to know also, like, how did the pandemic affect real estate, especially in New York City?
I like to think that there's always a side of two things, the same thing. So of course, market wise, I think we saw a lot of downtrends overall everywhere, right? Every market as well when COVID hit, because nobody knew what was going to happen. Manhattan market was one of the biggest struck when it came to pricing. Everybody wanted to leave. Nobody wanted to be in crowded places. Nobody really could leave anyways. And so March, April, June, July, all of those months, you started seeing like Manhattan was really empty in the street because everything was closed. And so that affected not only the actual residential prices, but as well as commercial spaces. I saw a lot of friends of mine who were trying to get off the leases because they were afraid that they weren't going to be able to pay it. I had a client actually who had to close 2 of their physical stores in Manhattan because they couldn't afford the rent on the other stores, and plus their home expenses and everything. They weren't able to sell anything. They were primarily a retail store that didn't have much e-commerce, so it hit them pretty hard. Real estate in Queens kind of grew a little bit because it's a little more suburban, some areas, right? Long Island, that did pretty good overall. A lot of people who were moving away from Manhattan went to Long Island or in other states, Florida. I have a good friend over there in Sarasota. And so she's telling me that the houses are sometimes being listed for 3 days and then they get sold because they're trying to just take advantage and then just go fly somewhere else. So in places like Sarasota, Florida, some places the market went high, like the prices went up and it's good for them. Places like Manhattan, more cities,
Okay.
heavy populated cities got hit with the pricing.
I now want to get into, so you said you had an opportunity basically to start your own company, and you talked a little tiny bit about it, but it's been going on for, what is it, like a year now? What is it?
We're gonna
A
make a
year?
year in May, actually.
Okay, so get into, I know you said you get interest in something and then you basically make it into a part of your life. So tell me about the inception of your company, what it is, and basically how exactly you founded it.
A friend invited me to this meeting where we are talking about the solutions that we see between boomers and millennials. Of course, I'm a millennial, so I was there. And so then at the end of that meeting, it was at Rockefeller University. Little did I know that the panel itself was consisted of PhD doctorates, all in environmental science, and none other than Rockefeller Jr. himself. And so right after that conference was over, or that talk, because it was really more a conversation between the panel and us, rather than just questions and answers, which is what I thought it was very interesting. I was invited by my friend to have private dinner with the panel. So it was maybe 8 or 10 of us, including Rockefeller and his wife, Susan. So it was an amazing experience, first of all. And so I always remember this because everyone on that table and that panel had their master's and doctorate in like environmental science, environmental research. There were scientists, there was this, and I'm there like the only like guy with the bachelor's in music and film. And so everybody was discussing solutions. And at some point, I raised my hand and I said, "Hey guys, I think these are amazing solutions, but here's a problem. I'm the average Joe in this room. I've never heard of any of these." So I really think that the issue is not so much that we have to come up with new solutions or new this, new that. It's just maybe being able to raise the awareness somehow. And from that, it's kind of where my idea for green marketing came about. Green marketing it's been known already for a while, but that's kind of where Greenmo, my company, came about, my thought. And so I approached a good friend of mine. She was I think the assistant of the marketing department in my real estate company at the time. And she was always very entrepreneurial-like. She was always wanting to start a company, and she has a master's in international business and a master's in international marketing. So I said, what better person to start this marketing journey that with someone who has this idea, actually study this? Because again, I getting excited about something and I just want to learn about it and just go for it. So I had
Yeah.
the idea, I like the willing to start something, and she had the knowledge. So that's how that kind of came about.
I love that. I love that story. And I really like the fact that you didn't let the degrees intimidate you and you spoke up and you had something to say, and that actually started, your now company. But I also like that you saw the need for a partner, because I think that sometimes we start businesses, but there's a missing piece, and so I really, really, really like that story, and like how you started that. How has the growth been for your company? Have you seen a decrease with the pandemic, an increase? Like, what has that been for you?
So officially, we started mid-pandemic. It was May 2020. The idea was formed in January. In March, we were trying to gather all the legal papers, but it wasn't until like May, that we got like our first client. And since then, it's been increasing. Luckily, I was grateful for the people who know what I do, how I work, and how I am as a person. I think that's what's really been guiding me through life and helping me, because I'm the one person that if I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Right.
So it's been growing, thankfully, to that. I've been recommended over clients right now. It's been through referrals only. And we're doing pretty good. The first one, we're making $500 a month. Then towards the end of the year, we ended up making $30,000, and just like barely the first year. And so that was very, very exciting. not only for the money, but because we realized that our idea of how we worked was also making an impact with people. So at Grimo, for every client that we have, every monthly retainer, we donate up to 7%, between 5 to 7% to charities, sustainable charities. And two of our clients who saw that that's what we're doing, because they get actually a reminder, we do the donations on the name. So whenever we get that check, we usually make the donations, and they get a cute email from one of the different charities say, hey, thank you for your donation. So when they started seeing that, they're like, hey, what's this about? It's like, hey, it's just something we do because we want to be able to make a bigger change than just our name, right? Like we don't want to be just called Greenmo because we want to greenwash everything. No, we want to be able to make a change. And when I'll go later into detail what we do a little further, we started doing these donations. And so, like I said, two of my clients, they saw that and they were like, we want to be able to do something similar. And so they started doing something similar. They started doing donations, and they started like making like communities about not just environmental, but also things that they believed in and how they could provide help. And in this case for them was financially as well. So that for me was the biggest, I think, impact that we've done with Grimo. That yes, we've been able to make some money, but we've been able to make some impact at such an early stage.
Right, right. It's been like a ripple effect. So that's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome. Go ahead and tell me, like, go in deep into what your company is, and also tell me about what your ideal client is, because what if someone's watching this and they can use your service?
Absolutely. So we are a green digital marketing agency. Just to kind of specialize or to define what green marketing really is, it's a way to promote a product or a service that has environmental benefits, right? But of course, we're happy to work with companies who want to learn more about environmental solutions, who want to maybe take their company to become more eco-friendly, because we've seen that corporate responsibility has become in a more known thing. We see more companies taking responsibility for their pollution, for their footprint on the environment. So we want to be able to make that easy for companies. That's kind
Right.
of our goal. So when someone is interested on, uh, again, not only promoting their service or products, because we do all the basic marketing needs, we guide them through that process, whether they need to connect with a new electric supplier who's 100% renewable, or they need to connect with someone who focuses only on polypropylene products in order to be able to be recyclable. So for example, like plastic containers, right? Might as well be able to make them out of plastic that's going to be reusable or can be sanitized again to be used again, right? So that's kind of what Grimo does. We offer also waste management tactics. We educate. That's kind of what we believe in as well. We want to be able to educate not only the employers, but also the employees about the importance of their impact and what they can do, like the baby steps to better the world.
I think now, especially with the pandemic, there are a lot of new entrepreneurs who are building products because we're going into a new world, kind of.
Yes.
And I think that's an amazing service because it's kind of like a missing piece. There's lots of new people making new things, but we don't exactly know how to make it sustainable for the environment. So I think that service is going to go really, really, really far. So I have like two more questions for you. I just wanted to know, you've had quite the journey. You've come to the United States, didn't know any English, learned English, then went into film, went into real estate, now have your own company, and you've had multiple jobs along the way. I want to know how you stay positive. We have our Motivational Tuesdays every Tuesday if you guys want to join on Clubhouse. But I have noticed consistently with you that you've always kind of had this air of positivity. I just want to know how you do that. What is your trick in staying positive?
I don't think I have a trick. I love to mention this on every Motivational Tuesday. Um, being grateful for the things that I have, and for who I am today. Really, I think throughout my journey, yeah, like you said, I've gone through a lot, and most of it, I think that it's what has helped me to be who I am today. Right? I think that life doesn't happen to us; it happens for us. And so I'm always grateful. I wake up, I have a little gratitude journal that I usually start my day with, and I write what I'm grateful for the day. Um, I think I also mentioned this on the Clubhouse on this Tuesday, that actually just 2 days ago, I was sitting here and I saw a beautiful sunset, and I took a chair. I just looked at it for like a good half hour, almost 45 minutes. I was just so grateful, and I got so emotional because I realized, wow, this is such a beautiful moment. I'm so grateful to be alive. Um, and the most beautiful thing about that sunset was like, I was thinking to myself, this is only something that I'm going to enjoy right now, the way that it is, because tomorrow is going to be completely different. It's going to be a new day. Um, but grateful. I think that that's been my key to how I am and how I continue to be, just being
I love
grateful
that.
and grateful.
So, my final question is, if you have any advice to give to any young person who's probably just starting out, they just graduated from college, and they were in the position you were in a couple years ago, what would you say to them? They're not sure what they want to do yet. What would you say to them?
Yes, be grateful and mindful, of course, but of course to believe in themselves. I feel like a lot of times when we're just starting out, sometimes we might have like people who might not believe in us. Sometimes they will, but I think it's very important to start with ourselves, believing in ourselves and the capacity of what we can do. And to know that we're still very young. I think we forget how young we are when, especially when we're just starting out, that we can fuck up like 10 more times and then like try again. I think that we're in the perfect position to fuck up. And I
Yep.
would say fail and fail and fail again
Mhm.
until you learn your lesson and you keep moving forward. It's only like, if you fail at something, you're only gonna lose when you quit, not
Yep.
when you fail again.
It's always worth it to try, is my opinion, always. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think this has been extremely helpful for not only myself, but those watching as well. I appreciate you coming on.